It is time for Count It Off, the podcast that'll travel anywhere to meet anybody for $5. Actually, I'm doing it today just for the fun of working with my old friend Mike Broening here. I'm Jeff Dayton. I'm the host of this podcast, and we explore the world of music and we meet fascinating people. And I know the minute I got this opportunity that Mike was one of the guys I really wanted to introduce y'all to. So Mike is from Phoenix, Arizona. He's an enormously successful jazz producer, songwriter, and artist, and I can't wait for you to hear his stuff. And we're sitting backstage at the MIM Music Hall here in Phoenix, Arizona, so we are truly on the road. Yeah, neat. So here we go with a little bit of music with Mike Broening. Come on, Marcia.
Welcome to Count It Off with your host, Jeff Dayton.
Awesome.
Where we explore the world of music through the eyes of some fascinating guests. So get tuned up and let's count it off.
Here we are, Mike. Hey.
Hey.
It's been too long, right?
I know.
I've got to be completely, in full disclosure, I've known Mike and most of my guests on this show for like 35 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we have so
91 or 2
I don't,
at the Handlebar J.
Is that when it was?
Yeah.
I walked into this bar.
And I was nervous meeting you because everyone had built you up so much.
Well, you were up there playing already when I saw you. I hadn't even noticed you till then. And I looked up and this guy is just playing great. And here's the thing about piano players for me. Some guys go up there and they got to play every lick they know. Mm-hmm. And Mike was up there supporting. He was playing like grooving. He was padding and jamming and just kind of pocketing with the band, and I went, "I love this guy." That's
it was out of necessity because I didn't have great chops, so I realized that I could go further with just being able to comp.
Well, and that's great because you fit into the picture.
Yeah,
and some people just want that. So you and I started doing gigs around Phoenix back in the day, and we had so much fun. Mike is one of those guys that's always had technology at his fingertips, and so when he and Jason Carson and I were writing together, somebody knew how to use Cakewalk.
I was using Cakewalk before it became what it is now. It was just MIDI.
Oh my God! And then you guys could SMPTE the thing to a 4-track recorder.
We were SMPTEing it to an old ADAT recorder.
Oh my God! Can you think of the primal tools we had back then?
I know, isn't it crazy?
And these days, Mike is okay. I'm going to say it. I love smooth jazz. I still do. And in the 70s, I was in a band, and we tried to do Tom Scott and the Crusaders and Steely Dan and, all the great stuff like that.
Yeah.
Richard T., we loved his stuff. And so I'm very much, and then, of course, the Yellow Jackets, in early 80,
Right.
They played in the parking lot at Milano's Music on Camelback and Indian School outdoors.
The Yellow Jackets
Yes,
did?
with Russ Ferranti and... Ricky Lawson on drums?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Ricky Lawson.
Well, let's jump over to Mike Broening music. I'm going to give you a sample of what this guy has, and it is so good. Here's some Michael Broening. Just getting to the good stuff. That smokes, man.
Thank you, Jeff.
Mike Broening there, and the Count It Off podcast on the road in Phoenix, Arizona. What got, we're sort of going backwards time-wise because that's your latest single, isn't it?
That is late, yeah. Yeah, it's...
and it's called Happy Hour?
Called Happy Hour, yeah. It was just number 1 last month.
I hope you guys are impressed, because I am.
Yeah, so this is my most recent one. Yeah.
It's outstanding. And you've come such a long way from the handlebar.
Yeah, right?
and
nervous as hell to play in front of anybody with and playing country, which I wasn't really familiar with. That was part of the reason I was comping so much. Was I was like, I didn't want to mess up, and it turned out that impressed you.
That's what I liked about it. I remember you wrote down your number. I'm like, I'm a call of this guy.
I know. I was so thrilled too.
Well, did you grow up here in Phoenix?
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah, since I was 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what got you drawn into music? Everybody's got that thing that hooks you.
Oh, I would come home from kindergarten and figure out the songs we sang in kindergarten class on my little toy piano.
No way.
And my parents went, that's not normal. And so they gave me piano. But what's interesting is I kind of fiddled around for a couple of years. But by the time I was about 7, I was really hooked and became obsessed.
Really?
Yeah. But the thing that really helped me with what I do now is in high school, I got a Tascam 4-track recorder and a Yamaha DX7.
Oh yeah,
and a Yamaha. It's Yamaha. We're doing the Yamaha.
Yeah, Yamaha's
I'm telling you, I've been doing Yamaha my whole life.
Yeah.
But I got a Yamaha drum machine, and
was it the DX?
It was the RX.
Okay.
Yeah, the RX.
So we're talking mid '80s then. Right?
Mid '80s. Yeah. And I would listen to pop tunes and I would recreate them with my 4-track. And back then you had to bounce tracks. So you'd play a part here in mono and bounce it and bounce it and bounce it. But I would stay up till 3 a.m, playing that. And that kind of helped the production chops. I didn't realize it because I was basically learning, listening and figuring out, oh, that's a bell sound and that's a, what synth sound is that? And I would recreate it, and unknowingly I was figuring out how to produce. And
you had a DX7, which was the sound of a lot of records back then.
Absolutely.
Depending on the cartridge that was in it, the sounds that were in it.
Depending on the ROM cartridge, the little green ROM cartridge that you put in.
I had some of those tools. My first song that I ever got recorded by George Strait was cut on an old Tascam 144.
Oh, yeah.
It ran at the slow speed, and it only recorded 2 tracks at a time. You couldn't record all 4 at once.
Right.
So you would record and bounce, or fill it up and then bounce and then go back. Oh, man. And
those were the days.
Yeah, but you know what? Got me a big hit. Well,
that's right.
Yeah,
right. It got you your big hit. Definitely.
Yeah, that was definitely fun. So you were blessed with the ability and then also had the access to the gear. I just talked to Damon Williams over on the Big Island of Hawaii and talking about his career and asked him what he would tell young artists. And he said, get a hold of the records that you want to sing like and sing like them and sing them over and over and over till you sound just like them and then put your thing on it,
Yeah, that's good advice.
Kind of like you did. You broke down the hits.
I broke down the hits, yeah. And I think that's something that kids today unfortunately don't get. Because I'll give you another example. I was obsessed with the piano music from the Snoopy cartoon, Vince Guaraldi. For me to learn that, I had to record it on a tape recorder and hit rewind and listen to what notes he was playing and listen until I could figure what that was. And then I understood, okay, that's an F major 9 chord, because I would learn about it because I would show it to my teacher. But it forced me to listen. I wasn't looking at a YouTube video with, where they tell you which notes to play. I had to listen, so it trained my ear. So I kind of feel like if I were to give similar advice to young people, it's don't take the easy way out to learn things. Figure out, close your eyes, listen to what it is, and try to learn it. Because that was, and I'm sure you had the same thing when you were learning how to play.
We had to slow the record down by putting our finger on it and trying to slow it down. We ruined a lot of good records.
That's right. But it trains your ear.
Yeah.
And I, on a similar level, it trained my ear when I was, figuring out pop songs and all of the sounds that went with them. It trained my ear to hear, what does a kick drum sound like, and a snare and a hat and a synth and bass, and how do they arrange everything? Because I had to listen to it to recreate it.
Yeah. Well, those Oberheims and the Yamahas they all had great sounds in them to begin with. And
they did. They were the first. I was the first generation that got that.
Oh, yeah.
Because that Yamaha had a bass and it had a harmonica and an electric piano and a piano. They weren't good,
but you could still layer away. You know?
But you could create an entire song with one synthesizer.
Oh, that's so fun. I messed with that for a while, but when it came to MIDI, I had brain freeze. It just my head exploded.
Well, I didn't have MIDI back then.
Yeah.
I mean, MIDI was there, but I didn't have that predated the computer age.
Yeah.
But the minute I got a computer, I started using that, and I was using Cakewalk. So I was one of the first people.
And before that, it was called something else. Before it became Cakewalk. Sonar. It was Cakewalk Pro Audio.
It was Cakewalk, just Cakewalk. Okay. Then it became Sonar.
Yes, and that's when I got on it.
Yeah, and Sonar was when it became audio. But for a long time, it was just MIDI.
Well, the stuff we did with Jason, that was with Cakewalk.
That was with Cakewalk, just Cakewalk. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we were old.
We were sharpening rocks for weapons. You know, we didn't have anything.
We were. That's right. It was Cakewalk, and if you didn't have that, you had Pro Tools, which was super expensive.
Oh, ridiculous
back then, and I couldn't afford that, so I was.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the payoff when you get that song together and you learn it. Like I sat at the piano, I tried to learn Hill Street Blues.
Oh yeah, I learned that.
I tried to do that, and I was like, and I suck at Hill Street Blues today, but it's so rewarding.
It is rewarding
when you hit a few of them, you know.
Yeah.
Or when you're playing Jackson Browne on the piano and you're trying to do something of his, you know, and you're just going, oh, it feels so good when I'm so close.
You know, I tell everybody that's learning, give yourself time to cross that first line. Because at first you're just learning notes and you're learning concepts and it's a struggle. But when you can cross over that first hill of I can play a song by heart, it motivates you and it gives you the confidence to move up to the next level. But a lot of people quit before they get past that. And that's the sad part. You got to be able to fight through and learn that first Hill Street Blues song or that first... You know, back when I was a kid, it was Faralise by Beethoven.
Oh, really?
You know, that's what everyone wanted to learn.
Well, the thing that cured me from that was everybody's sister played that in their piano lessons.
That's right.
I was tired of it before I even got there.
Exactly. But once you could get that, you know, for me, it was, I don't even remember what all the songs were, but I feasted on it.
Yeah.
And so I crossed a lot of hills pretty quickly.
Yeah. My sister Trisha had a piano book and it was called How to Play Piano Despite Years of Lessons.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, guitar players, you know, a lot of guys say, do you have the tab for that? Like it shows you what finger and what note, but it doesn't tell you what it sounds like.
That's right.
It doesn't. And so, finding your way through that. David Sandler was an awesome interview on the Count It Off podcast, and he worked with Brian Wilson, but before he got to L.A. working with the Beach Boys and those guys, he was at home breaking down records, and he was pulling out the parts, and he was playing on the piano, and then he was rolling a tape recorder and looping over it and singing harmonies, and he was learning Brian Wilson style harmonies, taking records apart.
And I think that's more important. I learned how to read, but almost everything I do now was stuff that I learned by listening.
Yeah, well, you've got a great ear. I mean, I knew that right away listening to you at the Handlebars. He's a natural musician. And here's the thing about it. I've known him 35 years, and he hasn't aged a week. He's still as youthful as ever.
I still look like a little boy.
Yeah, well, not really. Let's listen to some more Mike's music right here, right now. I love this track. all night, man. What a pocket. That's huge. That is great, Mike.
Thanks, Jeff.
Tell us about that record.
It's called Never Too Late. And
the title track from your album.
That's the name of the album. That track is called Fire in the Sky.
Okay.
But the album is called Never Too Late. And it's aptly named because I'd been behind the scenes producing and writing for everybody else. And then I finally said, you know what? I've got all these songs that are just sitting in the can that somehow didn't work for an artist, and I should just do it myself. And I finally bit the bullet and did it.
You know, it's funny. I was watching Kelly's show, Kelly Clarkson's show. And she had Trisha Yearwood on there. It was just very recent because it was just popped up on YouTube. And Trisha was talking about finally deciding to venture into being a songwriter because she always did everybody else's songs.
Yeah.
And her hero was Linda Ronstadt, who never really did much writing.
Right.
And so Trisha's talking about, like, what am I going to do the rest of my life? Sing demos? That's all I've been doing. I sang demos for 30 years and, got a record deal and doing other people's songs. But I think it's great when you step out and do your own thing. Yeah,
yeah. And for me, it was opposite of Trisha because I'd been songwriting and producing for everybody else. But this was stepping out as the artist.
Yeah, putting your name on it.
Yeah. And I'm kind of fortunate that the genre I'm in doesn't really care that I'm an older first-time artist. And it helped that I have a baby face, but they didn't. Yeah. Radio didn't care. They played my stuff, so it was pretty cool.
It's grown-up stuff. I tell you what. Norman Brown is another guy
I love Norman Brown. Yeah,
and I've discovered that album, that one. I forget what it was called, but it's on my hard drive at home, and just wonderful stuff to just listen to and kind of groove and fold your laundry, whatever.
He's one of the many guitar players that has emulated George Benson.
Well, there's only been a few, right?
Yeah.
Glenn Campbell and George were friends.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
In fact, we were somewhere, I think it was up in Michigan, and Glenn had been given one of George's GB20 Ibanez guitars.
Oh, yeah.
And George got it, and I'm sure he had the truck backed up at his yard every now and then.
Yeah.
So he gave it to Glenn, and Glenn was like, "Oh, it doesn't really suit me. Here, Bob, take this."
That's funny.
He tried it out, but archtop wasn't Glenn's thing.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
So Bob got it, and I think he got rid of it at some point down the line. But George was a huge influence. Breezin' blew the doors off the barn right there.
Sure. Well, you're talking about the two of the greatest guitar players that have ever lived right there.
I wish they had done something together.
I wish they had too.
Yeah, because they were both here in Phoenix.
Yeah, he moved here. I was the reason I worked with him was because he just moved to Phoenix.
We're talking about George Benson.
Yeah, he moved here in 2006.
And I think Glenn was just heading to California about that.
Yeah. So they kind of missed each other's paths, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now, you worked on, since you brought up George Benson, how'd you meet him?
It was 2006. He just moved to Phoenix. He was doing a collaborative record with Al Jarreau. Most of it was kind of like an all-star cast. He had Herbie Hancock on some. He had Paul McCartney was on one. Oh, wow. But they wanted a couple of contemporary jazz songs. And I was fortunate enough that George was a big fan of the record that I just produced for a saxophone player named Marion Meadows.
Yeah.
And he really liked it. And it was really one of the first things I'd written and produced. So I'm really still new to the game.
I'm loving it.
And he told his label, can you get the guy that did this record? And they found out that I happened to live right there in Phoenix. And like, oh, this is perfect. He lives in Phoenix. And so I get the call. And do you want to work with George Benson?
He didn't care that you had a baby face. You just wanted to
No,
work with
he didn't care.
Oh.
Didn't care. And the best part of that story, Jeff, is we went to I don't remember the name of the studio, but it was a big studio, a huge Neve board, tons of rooms. And for some reason, and I had programmed the song that we were doing, and I was still new to the game, and I just kind of sat back in the studio and just kept my mouth shut.
Yeah, very hyperventilating. Probably.
But George was playing his parts, and for some reason, the engineers were running everything through the computer, and so he had about a half second of latency. For your fans that are listening. That means you play a note and you don't hear it for about a half second or a second later. And it's impossible to play like that. Yeah. And I'm new and thinking, what are you guys doing? Take the computer out of the equation. run him through your $1 million worth of outboard gear, and so he can play like a normal person. Well, that session went about 8 hours.
Oh.
And he was not feeling it.
Yeah.
And at one point, he leaned over to me and he goes, Mike, can you do better than this? I'm not kidding. That's exactly verbatim what he said. And I said, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't have this equipment. You'll be in my house, but I guarantee you when you play a note, you'll hear it when you play it. And he goes, I'm coming to your house tomorrow. So he came to my house. I stuck a screwdriver in my drywall, ran it in next to Andrew, had just been born, my son. Uh-huh. So I set up a microphone next to his amp, next to Andrew's crib. He did it in 2 takes, and that's the take that won the Grammy.
Dude.
Is that the best story?
Oh, man. You guys, you know what? This is just like nuts, man. You know what that gets? I can't believe it. Here it is.
Oh, yeah, the applause.
Oh, man.
Isn't that crazy?
That is insane.
Yeah.
Wow, God's got a hand in everything, doesn't he?
Yep.
Geez, how many kids you got now?
Just 2. Uh-huh. Andrew had just been born when this happened.
Yeah.
He was, and he happened to not be there. But the other really cool part about this, Jeff, is that George didn't care. He went from $1 million studio to playing in some kid's house with a mic set up next to his baby's crib, but he got the sound that he wanted. And that's all he cared about.
And he wanted to work with you.
And he wanted to work with me. And he told, and I was embarrassed too, because I'm like, this isn't what he's used to. But he looked at me and goes, Mike, I've recorded some of my best stuff in the closet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and I thought that's what a pro is.
That's
right there,
the real deal. That's a guy who knows.
A pro doesn't care.
Yeah.
They do what they can to get the best sound. And he was feeling it.
What was the name of that track?
It was called Mornin', which was a remake of
Morning, Mr. Perio.
Yeah, this was the instrumental remake of it.
Okay, was Al on the record?
Yeah.
And did you work on that with him too?
Al, I did not work with Al, but Al is on that track.
Okay.
And then the other best part is that they ran out of money and time, and Joey DeFrancesco was supposed to play B3 organ on the Paul McCartney song, but he was on tour. So they asked me to play B3 organ. So I've laid down my track with Andrew on my lap at my house, and I emailed it to him. And that track is Paul McCartney, George Benson, Herbie Hancock, Al Jarreau, and then my name, B3, like the least deserving person ever.
Oh, man.
And but I got to do it just because they had spent so much money on all these stars, and it was supposed to be Joey DeFrancesco,
who's a world-class guy,
who's one of the greatest B3 players there is, or was, unfortunately passed away. But they were like, well, he's given us 2 cool tracks and he's reliable, so here, play the part. Yeah. So I technically am on a song with Paul McCartney.
You are, absolutely. And Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is. I want to tell a quick Herbie Hancock story. I've never met him, but I was in New York.
I didn't meet any of them either.
Yeah. Our friend Clark Rigsby from Arizona.
He
got to work with Paul McCartney years ago. Yeah. I was in New York for the APAP conference in January of 25, and there was a bunch of keynote speakers and people talking about our industry and the world of performing and music and everything from dance and theater to classical, and the arts of all sorts, and all the things we do. And he was a keynote speaker that flew all over the world and talked to people. They said they pay me an obscene amount of money to talk about what I know. But he said Herbie Hancock told me that he was doing a gig. It was his first time with Miles Davis. And and he was playing along, and it was he was supposed to finish his solo, and then Miles was supposed to come in. And right at the end of his solo, he laid a major bad one.
Really?
Like plop, like the worst wrong note you can hit.
In front of the worst person to do that.
Right.
Too.
And after this, and Miles took off and played. And afterwards, Herbie went to him, and he was so apologetic. He said, "Man, I'm so sorry." He goes, "No, man, you totally changed what I did."
Really?
Yeah. And he says, that's where we do our work.
Wow. That's a great story.
Isn't it great? I love that, because that means that there really aren't any wrong notes.
Yeah.
If you can jive with that,
right.
If you can pick up on that, and Miles would have been the guy that would have.
Yeah, he went with it.
Yeah.
That tells you what kind of musician Miles Davis was. Yeah. That he could take a wrong note and go, oh, maybe that's cooler.
And that he could welcome Herbie to the club.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Is.
Yeah, maybe
it's very cool.
Wrong note for some, but perfect for what I did.
Perfect for me. Yeah.
All right, let's get some more Mike Broening going right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. Michael Broening. Michael B, as you're called sometimes.
Sometimes Michael B or Mikey B.
Mikey B. Yeah. No, I like Michael B.
Michael B is
Michael
better.
B is cool. Yeah. We were talking while the music was rolling, and you told me who that drummer is.
Yeah, Lester Estelle Jr., who plays on the Kelly Clarkson show.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing about music. The whole world of music that we're talking about, you know, the Count It Off podcast is based on looking into the world of music through the eyes of people who are there. And you'd never stop to think, what does the drummer for Kelly Clarkson sound like on my record?
Right.
And you had him play on a bunch of stuff?
Yeah. I gave him a bulk bunch of songs for a variety of artists and then some for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he films in Los Angeles and then flies to his home in Memphis. He lives in Memphis.
Wow.
And he just records a bunch of stuff. And he laid down 10 tracks in 2 days, sent them to me via a cloud. And that was it. And now I have 10 tracks of drums.
Oh, and you can use those any way you want?
I can use them any way I want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Put them on our song.
I can. I've done it. I've manipulated certain things to use for other songs because the groove's so cool.
Yeah, and once you got the sounds, you can do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's our electronic world today, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Where did you come up with the idea that you could make music as a living? I mean, did you somebody has to say, go to college, get a degree, and go work at IBM or whatever it was, Motorola. You know?
Oh, I thought that. Well, my degree's in finance.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you'd think you'd have the common sense to get out of the music business.
I was never comfortable in it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I did well. I graduated, cum laude, but it was miserable. I didn't like the people, and so I much preferred being around musicians. But I had a lawyer father, and so it was hard battle. In my own head, saying I would really like to do music, but at the same time, I probably need to get a real job.
Well, the whole time I've known you, that's what you do, though. I mean, you haven't been like sweeping floors at Babies R Us or anything like that, right?
No, I taught piano lessons. I made a point to try to do anything to make a living music related. Mm. So I had a lot of piano students and I played a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
And then, slowly but surely I started programming for people, and then it became a production, and then another production, and then a songwriting. And the only thing I can say I did is that when somebody came to me and said, "Can you write and produce something?" I gave it 120%, and I would stay up till 3 a.m. Wow. So that it was the best. I always wanted to be the best that I could give, and I think that word goes around. Yeah. If you hire him to do this, you're going to get the best of him.
Long time ago, I remember you working with Connie Cole.
That was my first production job. Yeah.
Was it really?
Well, I had done Turning Point, and we were recording.
That's right.
So I did get a lot of engineering experience in a real studio environment.
And the brothers, the
brothers Thano and Dimitri, who I'm still really close with.
Say hi to them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I love both of them. But we had a great experience writing in the studio,
and you guys were a success of sorts, weren't you?
We did have some. Yeah, we did. We had a nice little following in Phoenix, and that led to Connie Cole. And then they asked me to produce Connie, and I met Marion Meadows through Connie.
Okay,
and then Marion asked me to produce his record, and then George Benson heard it. So it was a pretty quick leap.
Yeah,
from Turning Point to George Benson, that's not a normal leap, and I'm grateful for that, because I that's where I say you sometimes have to be lucky.
Yeah,
Well,
again, the divine interference there. Intervention, I should say, not interference. Mike, I want to ask about your current activity. I mean, you mentioned to me off the mic a couple of times you've had a bunch of chart-topping things in smooth jazz. Tell me, how many records has it been for you now?
How many
number one records in smooth jazz?
I've had 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is solid. Well, I can see why, because I can turn it on any, remember the old station here in Phoenix, and the
Coyote? The
smooth
Coyote,
jazz. Smooth jazz.
From the 7-Up guy.
Yeah, that guy. But, I mean, that is totally totally listenable. It's as good as the Norman Brown, as good as the stuff that I used to listen to in the 70s. And it's not as adventurous maybe as the Yellow Jackets were, because they were more,
more fusion.
Composition. Yeah. But, man, I tell you what.
I appreciate you saying that. I have a team, and I have a formula. Which makes it nice. But I program a lot of the stuff, and then I outsource a lot of the parts. Mel Brown I was telling you, Mel Brown, my bass player. I've had a couple number ones with Thano, Sonis playing guitar.
Nice.
Yeah, and they love him. There's another local guy here too named Bill Moyo. Bill and Dom, you may know Dom Moyo.
Sure, that was the dad?
Yeah. And
Dom was one of the great forces of guitar back in.
Bill is the guitar player. Dom is the drummer.
Right, yeah.
And but Bill is on a couple, and he's sounds very much like George Benson. So I've really tried to use a lot of local Phoenix musicians on stuff, and people go, "Wow, these guys are." There's some good musicians here in Phoenix.
Yeah, well, I would, even if I didn't have my name on it, I would be so honored to be on
and I would love to have you. I mean, because Jeff, you guys don't know, this man is like, I am eternally grateful to Jeff for all of the work he gave me early on to help me be able to, keep my head above water. When you're in the beginning, you're doing anything you can just to pay your bills. Right. I didn't start out writing, smooth jazz hits. I had to gig and teach and gig and teach and do whatever I could.
Right,
so a lot of that was Jeff.
Turning over rocks and looking for bugs and seeds. Yeah, I get it. I remember one of the things about Mike is he always had the tech advantage, though, and we'd be playing somewhere with Ted DeKina on bass and Matt Goodman on drums and Mike Smith on steel.
Right.
And we'd be playing in some corporate ballroom gig, and Mike would be over there. He had all these samples on his keyboard, which I didn't understand at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
You had William Shatner?
I'd had William Shatner and airplane clips and... Yeah,
that was Jim, I'm a doctor.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor. Those were fun.
Yeah,
those were a lot of fun.
But music ought to be fun, don't you think?
I agree.
Yeah,
and I learned a lot. I can honestly point, even as a smooth jazz musician, that my training playing with you in country and learning where to sit out. Sit here, now fill here, sit and fill. I produce that way. I produce where it's like sit out here, now fill here. And now let's get a different instrument to fill here. And there's a lot of country seeps into how I produce smooth jazz.
That is our way in Nashville.
Yeah, it's
as
just
the Mandalorian says, this is the way.
Yeah,
but we have that. We've learned that, and the greats know how to do it without even getting off there. off their chair. I mean, it's such a great way though for a song to be featured and to sound good and to give room for the singer, which is always number one.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've just learned how to do it for the lead instrument, but learning how not to step on them is something I learned from you.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, that's great. I love that about our friendship. And for those of you listening in, again, this is Mike Broening, and we're going to go out with a little bit more. We're not going out yet, but we're going to play some more of your music.
Great.
Man, that is great. Michael Broening here at the Podcast Central in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, now I just want to mention that was Thanos Sanas, the guy from Turning Point who's playing on that song.
You got great friends. We are, I think a long time ago, my second album was called Never Been Better. And I said in the liner notes, I think the quality of our lives is measured by the quality of our friendships.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're one of my guys.
Thank you.
Always have been. So where can people find you?
They can go to www.michaelbproductions.com and Google Michael Broening. That if you Google my name, it'll take you to my Spotify, my Apple Music, and I have 2 YouTube channels with some of my music on there. So,
and Broening is
Broening.
All right, Michael Broening. Michael B. Productions.
That's the website, yeah, and then it's Michael Broening. It's easier just to Google Michael Broening.
Yeah. Well, it's sure been a blast, and I tell you, so we're still listening to some your music here. I don't want that to go away. It's sure been a blast, Mike.
Oh yeah, thank
Jeff.
you.
And we're getting ready to do a show.
Yeah, we're doing
tonight.
A Glenn show tonight.
Yes, and we're being filmed by Yamaha.
Yes, of all things.
What's the piano you're playing tonight?
It's a Yamaha 9-foot grand. It will be gorgeous. My favorite piano I've ever played on.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's tremendous, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. And all you got to do now, man, is say bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Hey, baby.
Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this show. We invite you to check out all the other episodes and share this channel with all of your friends. Until next time, peace.